welcomes to Mission Debrief. We've played every mission of the mainline Halo video games, and now we're playing every mission from the rest of the games in the franchise in chronological order. Each episode will be discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Shield World mission from Halo Wars on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Flood mission from Halo Wars. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krysta Brown.
I got a bad feeling about this. Good to start with Star Wars quotes, huh?
Yeah, we probably did that one before, but this one felt right. Last mission, Anders' signal. So Professor Ellen Anders was abducted by the Arbiter, and the Spirit of Fire had no choice but to take chase. Serena followed Anders' transponder and leads the ship to an unknown planet in uncharted space. A trio of elephants were deployed to the planet's surface to eliminate the Covenant and identify potential fire-based sites. However, two of the elephants were overrun by a grotesque menace called the Flood. Forge saved the elephants and as many stranded ODSTs as possible before retreating to the firebase. Now in the mission titled The Flood, as the hunt for Anders continues, Red Team finds themselves surrounded amidst a flood-infested landscape and must be rescued before being consumed. Forge deploys forces from the recently established firebase to save the Spartan 2s, but a new threat is discovered. A proto-gravemind is nearby and must be dealt with before tracking Anders further. Date of the game is February 23rd, 2553. No, not 2553, 2531, excuse me. 2531. All right, let's see, we have a cutscene in this one?
No cutscene. Either
right?
before or after.
Yeah, it's a continuation from the previous mission, which took me a while to figure out because there's those three elephants in the mission. I'm like, why are these elephants here?
They don't really
Yeah,
serve a
totally
purpose.
useless.
Other than extra firepower at your base.
Yeah.
I didn't really do anything else with them.
I mean, the first base doesn't really even get attacked all that much, though.
Really? Mine did.
No, my second base got attacked all the time, but my first base, it was mostly just infection forms.
Yeah, first base is not too bad for me. But the elephants, I mean, it's a complete continuation from the last mission, so it makes sense that they're there. But for some reason, it took me a while for that to click. It's like, these three things are like, am I supposed to use these? Am I supposed to deploy these? I mean, maybe some people do deploy those, but they just have them sitting there because, hey, you know what? Those are the elephants from the last mission.
Consistency, even though the map
Exactly.
is completely different.
Right, yeah. Well, there's that too. So not really a cutscene, but it just says that so Red Team, you see them in their Warthog kind of cruising down in the middle of all the flood. They're after Anders' signal, but I guess we're talking about the mission. So the signal is actually coming from the Gravemind. Did you guys pick up on that at all, or did you?
It's like
when you were reading.
jamming
No, I thought it was jamming the
signals.
signal, wasn't it?
So what I read was that the Proto Gravemind was duplicating the signal that Anders is transmitting, and so that's why the Red Team was kind of being drawn towards that. So kind of at the top of the map there. So that's my understanding. That's what I read from Halopedia and the lore. So that's why they're off. They're trying to go save Anders. They get overrun, and then they get stuck, and they need help. So Cutter orders reinforcements to go and track them down. And that's the little gameplay cutscene that we get right away. So nothing as pretty as we've seen, but it's still, like I said, it's a continuation from the previous mission. So I think it makes sense. It's a direct, it directly follows what we just did. From a mission overview standpoint, the objectives are to reinforce Spartan Red Team. And I didn't necessarily reinforce them. I just kind of saved them and sent them on their way. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the first objective is to reinforce them, and then the second objective is to destroy. It just calls it the Flood Boss. It doesn't reference it as a Proto Gravemind, which is interesting. I guess that's another concept that guess why would they introduce that here? It's kind of a big concept.
Is it a proto-grave mind or is it a key mind?
My understanding is a proto-grave mind, but feel free to... You want to dive in quick into Halopedia and see if it's something else? I think that's...
Let's see what I can find. I thought it was proto myself.
I
know
proto.
It's called Flood Boss.
This is kind of...
Let's see what it's
Honestly, this game came out before 343 sat down and like fully fleshed out how the flood worked, so some stuff was still a little up in the air.
Yeah. So let me keep going through the objectives and correct me if I'm wrong on that proto-grave mind. Optional objectives are to kill 20 flood stocks, and those are those little...
They're like
I
trees.
don't know. They're little trees with little bulbous... I think they're called blisters. Like the eggs are also called blisters from like... Remember Halo 3 where they're when you're in Cortana mission and there's all those little bulby thingies? That's what they're kind of hanging off the little trees there. And then there's also like the bigger ones that you see around, and I call those eggs. So they're kind of the same thing, but the little trees are a little bit smaller. So you have to go around, this is like your chore for this mission. Is you not only do you have to save
It is
Red
such
Team
a chore.
and destroy the boss, and then you have to go around and you need those points too.
Yeah, Halopedia are calling it a proto-grave mind in that mission.
Okay, that's where I got it from. And then Krysta has all this deep flood knowledge, and so go listen to Podcast Evolved if you want to learn about Keymind and all that other stuff from the flood. The other optional objective is to have all of the flood colonies dormant at once. So, and those will pop up during the mission, and that just kind of happens organically.
Yeah, that just kind of comes with playing the mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although the flood stocks, if you don't take one of those out, that optional objective won't pop. They won't even pop up for me.
Yeah,
I remember. I think my first time through, I didn't touch them at all because I was too afraid of popping unnecessary eggs from the mission before, and I didn't touch them at all. And then the objective didn't even come up.
And I think once you complete the mission, though, it tells you what objectives you miss, right?
I think it does. Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, so then you'll realize that you need to go do that to get all of the points. Which Krysta likes all of the points.
I collect all the points.
Oh, that's probably what I'm doing wrong.
Collector. The part time is 18 minutes to 30 minutes. The top score for gold is 35,000. Silver is 20 to 35. Bronze is 15 to 20. And then the tins are 0 to 15. Theoretical best score is 59,200. Let's start with Krysta. Miss Perfect. How'd you do?
You don't want to start with me, I don't think.
I want to start with you.
It's 59,200.
You got perfect again?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I was with
Krysta.
I have a witness because I was explaining the mission to him when I was going through my runs and like what we're doing and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he comes in as I'm finishing the mission, and I'm like, I hope I get like maybe 50 is what I'm hoping for, and popped, and he's like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, oh, maybe that's the perfect one. Let me go check. So
that's amazing. Awesome. Congratulations again. 2 perfects.
I know.
I'm so intrigued because I felt like I did pretty good on this one. And I'm interested to learn from Krysta. David, what'd you do?
I got 21,279, and that was on my second run through.
Okay,
and
so
I
you did 2?
Also thought I did pretty damn well because like nothing died, and then I still suck.
Did you get all the optional objectives?
No, I think that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, you have to do those optional objectives.
Yep, because then the multiplier kicks in on those. So so at the very end screen there, it says all of your base points, and that's all of the objectives and optional objectives that you got, and then it multiplies that by your combat score and your time score.
Yeah, and the best combat is 10, and the best time is 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
God damn it!
So you gotta get those objectives. My score was 42,550, so I was happy with that. I got well over gold. Yeah. So what do we have in our toy box, Krysta?
Oh, we have a lot of fun stuff. So we of course have our hero units. We have Forge, who is just so useless on this. I didn't even touch him.
He's just on foot, right? Like I think I read the guide saying something about him and his warthog, but
he's on foot. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time, and you can't put him in a warthog.
Nope. I literally put him at the end, like the back of my fire base, and just kept him in timeout for the whole mission.
It doesn't really matter if he dies though.
No, but I mean, it's just rather just not even deal with him and watch him like try to flub around the map the entire time. You have the Spartan 2s, Jerome, Alice, and Douglas. Once you save them, we have 3 elephants that are just as useless as Forge, except for turrets. We have our fire base, which we can upgrade station and then fortress, and that's supply pad, reactors, turrets, and warthogs. Our barracks / elephant are marines and flamethrowers. I don't think there are ODSTs, but I didn't even bother.
Yeah, I actually just did before the show. I did another playthrough where I did just marines and flamethrowers, and there are no ODSTs.
Okay. We have our vehicle depot with Scorpion, Cobra, and Wolverine. We have our airpad with just the Hornet. Sad face. Very sad. This mission would be completely different with vultures.
Yeah, I was sad about that. I was going to go full vulture on my first run. And I was like, there's nothing here.
Just Hornets, what? And then we have our field armory, reserves, reinforcements, turret upgrades, adrenaline, and carpet bomb upgrades. So that's all good stuff. We have our Spirit of Fire abilities, heal and repair, carpet bomb, and transport. I didn't use the transport at all.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
I didn't either.
I guess it would have been useful if you wanted to get that second base right off the bat to transport the units over there.
Do you have to see that, though? Like, does it have to be outside the fog?
Yeah, I thought you did. I haven't tried to do that, actually. Transport
maybe
into the fog zone.
You might not be able to do that. Then
I was thinking that they gave you that option because it has the 5 different colonies that you need to take out. So you could potentially just kind of load up some vehicles and just drop them right on the colonies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be one way to go.
And then we have all of our beautiful floody units, which
oh boy,
there's a lot.
There's a couple.
We have some ground units. We have infection forms, thrasher forms. We have infected marines. We have flood cloud, which I saw the flood cloud this time. The flood carrier. We have our air units, which look like seagulls, but they are called
seagulls.
They look like just dead seagulls or some shit, and they're just as annoying.
They do.
They're called the Swarm.
I hate these guys.
Super annoying.
Stupid Swarm.
And then
the Swarm is weird. Have you guys talked about Swarm in any of your flood discussions?
I don't think so.
We don't. When we talk about flood discussions, we're generally looking at just the basic flood forms and not these crazy ass ones from Halo Wars.
It's such a weird one because isn't it we've talked about like sentience and them only taking over, like not taking over grunts or not taking over.
They must be a form of pure flood though. They must just come from flood biomass.
True. Okay. And then they kind of pop out somewhere.
I guess. I don't
fly around.
Doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
There's many of them. They're very annoying.
There's a lot. There's way too much. We have our stationary flood, which are very fun. Our flood launcher, which there's a lot of flood launchers in this one.
There's a lot. Yeah.
We have our flood den, which just spawns them. We have our flood nest, which just sits there and looks gross. We have our eggs and stalks, which you gotta destroy. We have our tentacles, very nice. We have the colony, which are the smaller of the big floods, and then we have the proto-grave mind, which is the big flood.
Colonies, yeah, okay. Sorry.
The colonies are like smaller big floods, and then the proto-grave mind's the big flood. The big bad.
Right. Correct.
I do like...
the colony are the things that you gotta kill, the 5 that you gotta kill.
I do like how they make them a giant red dot on your thing. It makes it very convenient.
Yes, it does. Go here. Difficulty modifications. For easy, all enemies have 25% less health and inflict... 50% less health and inflict 50% less damage. That's baby mode. Heroic is their extra flood artillery, and I did do a heroic run, and I did get gold, and there are definitely a lot of flood artillery, which are the, what do you call them, the launchers?
Yeah, there's a lot more in heroic.
Mm-hmm. Legendary has all enemy units have 25% more health and inflict 25% more damage. Again, I feel like it's doable, but that 25 additional on both health and damage would cause some problems. There's just a lot of flood to deal with. Cool. So what do you have there, David? Let's take us through your best of the 2 runs. How'd you do?
I tried to essentially mitigate losses. So I initially put the 2 groups of Marines and Forge just in a corner, like Krista said, down beside one of the bottom elephants. I moved up the other 2 to kind of use them as turrets, because I was actually finding I was getting attacked quite a lot at my first base.
Okay.
So I just like built up my base essentially with all supply pads, 1 reactor, and I did do a field generator for a little while, and then I got rid of it once I got what I needed. I then pretty much focused on scorpions because I figured they would last the best. I did think about going anti-air because of the amount of the swarm that was hitting me, but I didn't do it in the end. I was going to test one. I can't remember why.
Wolverines.
The Wolverines, yeah, just to see if they would do any better, essentially, against those ranks. But again, I was kind of felt the pressure for time, so I pretty much went full scorpion, and then just kind of had 2 groups essentially that I split up, one from the left and one from the right side of the map to try to take out the colonies. As soon as I could, I went for the second base. Again, filled it with the supply pads.
So wait, you didn't get the red team? You didn't get red team right away?
Oh, no, I don't get red team right away.
Okay.
I don't think you need to. At some point, I can't remember what time in the clock, they complain about
10 minutes.
Things getting... It's about 10 minutes. It's roughly around them, and I'm like, okay, I'll make an effort and go over there. But I don't particularly need them. I don't think you don't particularly need red team in this mission.
I found them useful. Go ahead.
Yeah? Okay. I didn't do anything with them, essentially. And then when I did that, I had like 2 groups either side of the main enemy base and just kind of brought them all in together while trying to heal and prevent any kind of losses. I may have lost 1 tank because of all the launchers.
So how big of a force did you send up to that second base?
Maybe 7 or 8 scorpions.
Oh, so quite a few. So you
turtled
for a
I maxed out
while.
on scorpions. Yeah, pretty much. I maxed out on scorpions.
Okay.
I think I took about 18 minutes. I saw Krysta had about 17 minutes, so I wasn't too much slower than Krysta.
Oh, you took 18 total minutes for the mission.
I'd say so. Yeah.
So like halfway through, you went up and got the second base.
Probably thereabouts. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I didn't do anything crazy other than that, in the run that I did the best in.
And then you didn't go around and take out all 5 of the colonies, right? You just made the run for the big boy.
I think I may have messed up. I think I may have thought there was only 4. I know that there's big red dots all over the map showing them to you, but I for some reason I thought the last red dot was the enemy proto-mind. I think I missed one of them, which is probably why I didn't get that extra bonus objective. And I didn't bother with the stocks either, to be honest. Yeah. I was kind of thinking if I go commit full time, try get it within the part time, and try get the best combat score. Essentially what I went, but I don't think that didn't work to my favor.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not quite good enough. You can get I think one of the optional objectives and still get gold, but if you miss them both, then you're in trouble. The score is not going to be there.
Boo.
Just because that multiplier kicks in. Yeah. So did you have any? So how did the scorpions do? I didn't do scorpions at all. How did they do against the swarm?
They actually did really well. Like. It was in my first run I noticed that like everything I was using was getting its ass kicked, so I was like, oh god damn it. And then the 1 or 2 scorpions I had just kind of were cleaning up, so I was like, yeah, they actually did pretty well.
And you didn't do any marines or anything else like that? Just pretty much
almost. And nope, didn't even touch marines in this game.
Just scorpions.
Yeah.
So then by the time you got up to the red team, you just used them to help take out the proto grave mine?
Pretty much.
End? Okay.
Yeah, I just brought them along with me for the ride.
Gotcha. Well, any other comments before you want me to take over?
Flood sucks. Boo flood.
There's a lot of them. I felt when I started the mission, I was just like, oh boy, like when is this gonna end? Because it is overwhelming and it's unnerving, I guess, to start with, because your boys are over there in the corner and they're asking you to save them. Meanwhile, there's a lot of space in between you and them, and you don't. I didn't know the best way to attack the mission right away. Again, it's been a while since I played, so I was like, oh boy, do I just turtle? Do I go and get them right away? What do I do? What I ended up doing for my run is I built a warthog right away and just sent a warthog up to get them. So that was the very first thing that I did. So send a warthog up to get them, activate them so that I can control them, and then bring the warthog back to the base. Because if you leave the warthog up there without a turret or anything, it's just going to get destroyed. So that was the first thing I did. Then I brought it back and built up my base. You know, the typical, you know, supply pads, reactors, all that sort of stuff. I did. I found the most success with Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
So I just focused on Hornets. Pretty much everything else. Like I ended up building. Okay, so let me go back. So my red team then. So they're in that corner. Up kind of close to the proto-groid mine. I then started to use them to start killing all of the stocks in that area because there's a few stocks around there. So once you save them, like that little spot is clear. There's no other flood right there, so they can kind of easily go around and start taking out stocks. And then I slowly walked them back to where the second base is. Meanwhile, I was like building up my forces down at the main base and upgrading and everything else like that. Building a few Hornets, eventually upgrading my Hornets. So I walked them all the way back to take out as many stocks as I could on their walk back to that second base. I think they ended up with like, I don't know, 13 or 14, maybe a couple more by the time that I was able to build that second base. So I had almost the full objectives then done. And so then I established that base, built a few more supply pads. One thing that I didn't do, and Krysta, did you use any of your Marines to start with, like go around and get resources, or did you find that not necessary?
There is like 2 things of resources like right at the bottom of the base.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there. But if you go too far, then a bunch of flood are there and your Marines just die. So I got like 2 things of... Because Marines really suck against the flood if they're not upgraded.
They do.
So I just went down there and I got those 2 things of resources and then I just put them right back up at the bottom of the base so that they could, kill flood from a distance while I... make sure that I got turrets and stuff.
My very first run, there's a lot of space around the fire base, the first fire base, and there's a lot of eggs strewn about, and I feel like they're just there to I don't know, egg you on and try to get you to destroy them, and then have your Marines get taken over by the flood, because then a lot, it's like half of the time there is some supplies that appear out of the eggs, and then the other half, some of the what is it called, the green stuff.
Oh, the cloud thing.
Yeah, the flood cloud pops out, and then those your Marines almost always get converted to flood from the cloud. So it's like kind of rolling the dice, and it's not really worth it because I didn't really have much of a problem with resources in this mission. So I feel like it's not even worth going around to try to pop those eggs and get the resources that are there. It would just be like over micromanagement. I mean, maybe you could like just wait and throw, your grenades at them. If you're not next to the flood cloud, it won't take you over. So I guess that could work. But that's just a lot of micromanagement that I'm not interested in doing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I went back with my red team, took up that second base. Again, I think I built a second air pad. So one air pad was down below, one air pad was up there. One of the air pads was just focused on upgrading. The other air pad was focused on just pumping out Hornets. And then once I did a field armory too, so I get the extra reinforcements. And then once I was in a good place, I just sent both armies out to go take over all of the colonies. I think I had more Hornets down below because I didn't have my Spartans with me. I think I did pop my Spartans into the Hornets too, so they are all controlling a Hornet with the extra veterancy, which helped as well. And then just kind of, so I think like I didn't make my final run towards the proto-grave mine until there's like, I don't know, 15, 16 minutes into the mission, and then they pretty much just clean up from there. I have to pump out a couple extra Hornets to, replace any that get taken out. But and then just make sure to grab a couple of those stocks along the way so that you get your bonus objective of 20 before attacking the proto-grave mine. And when you get to the proto-grave mine, if you've killed all 5 of the colonies, then it's almost all the way dead. So I just throw a carpet bomb at it and then finish it off.
I didn't do anything much different on my run.
Okay.
I always started off by instantly building 2 reactors.
Mm-hmm.
And then
2 reactors right away.
Yeah, 2 reactors right away. And
instead of supply pads? Well, because you have supply pads there.
Yeah, you have supply pads there. I instantly do 2 reactors because if you have enough for 1 initially, and then if you go get the just one or 2 packs of supplies, you have enough for another. And then I just put supply pads down on everything else. my goal was to get the air base up as soon as physically possible so I could fly the Hornet over to the second base and start establishing that.
Okay. I got you.
The second base is super tricky because you pretty much need to upgrade the second base and get turrets on that base pretty much right away because a bunch of those seagull things come and attack you.
Yeah. I did do turrets on both my bases. I think just 1 or 2 corners is really all I needed on normal.
Yeah, that's really what I did. And then it's just supply pads, upgrading all the supply pads. I fully upgraded my Hornets and then made sure after I fully upgraded my Hornets, I filled my resources to capacity with those Hornets, built an armory, and then it's usually around the 10-minute mark, which is why I know that's when the Spartans talk to you. They complain at 10 minutes, and that's when I know, okay, I need to start going out and actually doing something. I would have like a Hornet or 2 going out and getting some of the stocks just around the base, because there's a couple right in front of you. There's like 10 right there in that first area, so I always go and do that.
Yep.
And then once the Spartans start complaining, I go to the colony closest to them, which is the lower one of the 2 right by your base. I destroy that real quick, and then I go get the Spartans, load the Spartans into my Hornets. 1 or 2 Hornets go to different parts of the map to just start cleaning up the stocks. And then this huge horde of Hornets is just going from, infection to infection, just getting out those main forms.
Okay, so you sent everybody in one big group then?
Yes, yeah. And then while I'm doing that, I obviously get I upgrade to make the Hornets come out faster, and then I upgrade to have +10 so I can get 40 in there. And then I'm just adding more and more Hornets to this horde.
Yeah, right.
And then you just go from thing to thing. Always make sure to target the launchers first, because the launchers will fuck you up pretty fast. And after at the 3rd try, I knew where all of them were. So when I went to an area, I immediately go and destroy all the flood launchers and then start killing the main building. And then
that helps a lot probably for your combat score.
Oh yeah,
taking those launchers because they do some damage.
Yeah, it keeps your units alive a little. I just still had units die, so I'm not sure why I got the perfect combat score. Maybe I just didn't have many die, but I did.
Or you killed more. I mean, it's a ratio of how many you kill.
Yeah, it's gotta be a ratio or something. Yeah, it does that.
Okay, I don't know. I was surprised. And then once you get all of the colonies down, it's almost always that there's one more you need to go get.
Oh, sure.
That's what I found. So you go get the last...
Like one more pops up?
Yeah, another one pops up. So once the last one pops up that you need to go kill again, I send my army there. I just tell them to attack it, and then I go to the grave mine, and I just have literally the carpet bombs waiting. So once that red circle goes to gray, I immediately carpet bombed it, and then I was done.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's a fun way to end the mission. I like that.
Yeah,
carpet bomb.
It's not much different.
Nice. So I didn't take a picture of my screenshot. And I don't know if I can get back to like the multipliers, because maybe I didn't pay too much attention to the time. I felt like I did okay in time, but I probably didn't do it quite as fast as you. And then I got like the combat
I was
score,
getting 16 to 17 is what I was getting.
Okay.
Because I turtled for 10 minutes, but once you have a huge upgraded army, it doesn't take that long to go through things. And because you have Hornets, the only thing that's a threat to you is those seagull things, and the launchers is literally all you need to worry about.
Very cool. Yeah, I went back and did well, wait, before I start, congratulations, Krysta, you win again.
Okay.
Nice job. I did go back, and before this episode, I went back and just did the Marine run, like I mentioned before, and that was interesting. I just wanted to see if it was possible, if they would all get taken over by the flood, or how it would work out. I pretty much did the same exact strategy, only just did Marines, Marines and flamethrowers, but I upgraded them all the way. I didn't do any vehicles, just had this walking core taking over the entire map for me. I did do the it's not reinforcements, it's the other one of the upgrades where
adrenaline. There's
adrenaline where they walk faster, and then the other one is where they you build them faster. I guess that one's not as important. But yeah, adrenaline helps because they can move faster. But it's pretty similar. I mean, they did fine. I lost a lot more, but I was able to get gold when I just did my Marine run too. would be interesting to do the Wolverine run. I bet you they do a pretty good job of taking out the swarm, you would think, because they are just a pain in the butt. Let's see here, the black box, where we missed that. It's in the southwest corner, and I just flew over a Hornet to go grab that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you're playing with the camera, actually it's kind of the north is just tilted a little bit, so it's
Can
pretty
a
much
Hornet
straight
pick them up?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
It makes life way easy.
did not know that. I thought like a ground unit had to physically touch it.
No, it's nice. So the Hornets can get the skulls too, which is pretty handy.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah. So black box is in the southwest corner, and then the skull, it says, in the northeast of your base after you kill 20 stocks. So it's pretty close by. So just go grab that, and then you got all of your objectives or your achievement based stuff. Again, I forgot to look up the skull, but we're not really using skulls, so grab the skull just to have it. And yeah, that's about it.
Yay!
What did you guys think? I guess what did you guys think now of the mission? David, so this is mission 2 with Flood. There's more Flood on the way. How are you feeling fighting Flood in Halo Wars?
I don't know. I don't dislike them as much as I dislike them in the FPS games.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're still fun-ish to fight. I don't like the constantly regeneration, and
Yeah.
I guess they did make them more or less infinite in these missions. They do constantly flood you,
Mm-hmm.
so they are living up to their namesake. And I do like the kind of they go a bit wild, in terms of their designs, which I kind of like. That it's not just the 3 or 4 that you see in the FPS games. You get like various different types, like you said, the swarm and stuff like that. It's not just the classic
The
ones.
Thrasher, those those huge
Oh,
ones.
I hate those. I hate the big tentacle things and stuff. But anyway, and they look gross. I mean, they look cool. Do you know what I mean? I do like the bases, quote unquote, that they have. That's pretty cool. It's cool to see like a flood world, fully infected flood world.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. Do you know?
We didn't really get that experience in. I mean, we got like the Cortana mission and a couple areas that were, starting to become overrun. But this is a fully transformed, mutated world, which is very interesting. Krysta, how about you? How are you feeling now? Kind of two missions into our battling the Flood.
Oh, I love the Flood in Halo Wars. I think it's a lot of fun. I think they're interesting. Like David said, the different forms make it really, really cool. You're like, wow, what is that? They have such an obvious weakness against air that it's not even funny.
Yeah, the Hornets are pretty handy.
Like, it's like, if you want to win against Flood, anything in the air.
That's probably why they created the Swarm, because otherwise it would have been too easy, I guess.
Comparatively, like, if you're using a ground unit, everything's killing you. If you're using an air unit, 2 things are killing you.
Yeah.
It's almost ridiculous. But it works well when you're trying to get high scores and legendary runs and stuff like that. The Flood were the easiest to do. Just a lot of Hornets. That's it.
Right. I like the variety, but I also feel like I was just getting used to fighting the Covenant and like kind of starting to optimize, and then they throw this wrench in here to be like, oh crap, now I got to figure out the best way to fight the Flood.
That's what Halo always does.
Yes.
Every
right,
Halo game.
Exactly. So they don't let you get comfortable at all, which is that's Halo's MO. It would have been interesting to see what the middle of this game would have been like if the Flood weren't involved, if you would have started to get, I don't know, sick of fighting the Covenant, So I think it is good that they always keep you on your toes. All right, so I covered off on Black Box Skull. I think we should do some trivia.
Some trivia. This got a little bit actually for this mission.
Okay.
The beginning, you may have noticed that the Warhog that the red team are driving is actually different than a normal model. It's much darker and much wider. I noticed that in the back, and it's open at the back as well.
Okay.
Flat, like it doesn't have, I guess, the end lip that folds up. It's just totally flat that it leaves down. It's kind of like a flatbed truck. I don't know. That's kind of what it kind of looks like. It looks a bit weird. Also, one of the Spartans, I think it's Jerome, they say, is shooting a sniper rifle, but once the Warhog flips, they all go back to having their normal weapons. So Alice has a turret, Douglas rocket, and Jerome a Spartan laser. That's kind of weird. It's not the first mission to feature a proto-grave mind, which is referred to as the Flood Boss. There was one that leveled keys in Combat Evolved, but this is the first one. Yeah, this is the first one that you fight and kill chronologically in the series. This is the only campaign level that includes the individual buildings built site, which is already occupied by supply pads. If you recycle them, you get the site is lost. You can't build anything there.
Oh, okay.
And obviously they're useful that you can upgrade them into heavy supply pads. The elephants are obviously from the previous mission. They don't really serve too much purpose. And at the end I thought was weird as well, but when the Marine cheers, yay, all the creatures are dying, when the Gravemind is killed, the subtitles actually say something else. They say, Serena, what's going on? Which I thought was interesting.
Oh, funny.
That line itself always felt kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But he's happy.
What is her line at the end? Like something about a watch pot? Is that her line at the very end?
It was something like that. I remember
something
that.
sassy.
She's very sassy.
Yes, she's very sassy throughout. I think they talked about the transponder. Let's see here. Serena, report what's going on here, and then Serena says, "Captain, as soon as the creature died, I picked up a new signal just east of here." Okay, the watch pot was from the last mission. That's what I'm remembering. Yeah, so they picked up a new signal. So that made me think that was my comment earlier about the Proto-Gravemind was mimicking her signal, her transponder signal, because they said a new signal just east of here. Cool.
Yay!
All right, let's do Black Box.
The 6th of February, 2531, Professor Anders writes her father what appears to be a detailed analysis of Homer's Odyssey. In fact, it is a coded message detailing her mission to harvest and the results of the find there. Oni sensors miss the cipher completely, and the message passes unaltered to her father. I don't remember what significance that has, if any. It sounds like it might be significant.
Yeah, it does. You said that was Anders that did that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know who Anders' father is.
And I imagine he's dead in the current timeline.
Yeah, because it's been a while.
Been a hot minute.
Almost 25, 60.
Maybe we'll find out in the other Black Boxes. To be continued.
Bum, bum, bum.
All right, let's do some community.
Some community stuffs. Mr. Colin Perkins created a poll. We love these ones. March 2nd at 5:02 p.m. What's the coolest flood form? Question for mission debrief. Halo Wars the flood mission. So this one I think we could all guess who won this with a landslide victory. We have the Gravemind with about 26 votes. It's up there. Then we have Infection Form, which is pretty good choice. I mean, I think it's one of the most iconic flood forms. We have the Primordial, which is a deep cut.
Wow, that's
We have a Carrier Form, Pure Form, the Juggernaut, the Abomination, Thick Boy Brute Flood, Cody. And then we have Combat and Proto-Gravemind with no votes. No one liked the Combat form or the Proto.
So when I was writing this poll, it wasn't like right after I played the mission. So I didn't include like Thrasher and all the Halo Wars type forms, which I should have included. But I guess I was hoping some people would have added some as well. But the fact that Gravemind is on there, I think I just took all the votes regardless.
We all knew what was going to happen.
Any comments?
Oh, there is actually some comments. Sorry, let me scroll down a sec. So, Jesse says, none, they're all terrible. Good choice, Jesse. I'm liking that comment. Patrick says, Infection for sure. Storm says, Abomination is the worst. I agree. Abomination sucks. Lucas says, they all deserve the burn for what they will do to Jenkins. Oh, man. Sure, Jenkins. And if there was... Manny says, if there were a type that became self-conscious, I'd vote for that, a la Venom. Two minds, one body working together to bring peace between flood and sentient life.
Jenkins.
Jenkins. Well, it kind of was Jenkins for a bit, wasn't it?
I wasn't trying to help anyone, but the flood was like, you suck. Just die.
Cool.
That's it.
Thanks, Facebook.
Hooray!
Thank you to Facebook.
Did Discord, did they also like the Grave Mind?
We got 10 points for Grave Mind. Yay! We got 5 for the Juggernaut. We got 4 for the combat form. We got 3 for infection form, 2 for carrier form, and then 2 for pure form and want. Both the Juggernaut and the Proto Grave Mind only got 1. Though in the comments, a lot of people said Juggernaut, so I'm confused. Oh, Juggernaut was E. It's Abomination, excuse me. But I mean, Abomination and Proto Grave Mind lost, because they suck.
They're not cool.
Not cool at all.
They're not cool.
So Jedi Spartan 38 says Juggernaut because it's the Juggernaut, bitch. I'm guessing it's B and 2 stars. I'm guessing that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Hector
Yeah,
Elite.
he doesn't like to swear.
You don't have to censor yourself. This is the Discord. Hector Elites because he says the Juggernaut because it has a big black sack of infection forms.
Oh.
Very nice. I wasn't sure where that was going. Wolf says the Grave Mind has a voice that makes me quiver. No homo.
Oh God.
Matt says combat form is the stuff of nightmares in the original Halo. So. Ooh. Oh, also the reason Halo was rated M for...
Oh, really?
Well, not really, but...
I think it's the blood that always did
it's
it.
definitely the blood, and you can kill other people, and, just do a bunch of weird shit. RZSHR says infection form because popcorn chicken. Does look like popcorn chicken. Third says the Gravemind is a monument to all our sins. Dizzy Bumper says Gravemind is daddy. You're not wrong, technically.
True.
Rye says Juggernaut because they are the most annoying. Very good. LT Flop says Juggernaut because we had to wait all of 13 years just to see them in action, and they did not disappoint. Bless the Juggernaut.
So I looked that up. Do you guys know any of that history?
Was the Juggernaut something... Was it announced somewhere and they just never put it in the game? Is it one of those things?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Halo 2, but it never made it in the final cut.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's like the shark.
You can find... Yeah, you can find videos online of somebody that had hacked the code. It must be still in there. And then they were pitting the Juggernaut versus Tartarus. So they would put one Tartarus versus a couple Juggernauts,
that's pretty cool.
and see who would win. And then they would do 5 Tartaruses and I forget if it was 15 or 50 Juggernauts, and they would just he would just mash them together and let them see who would fight, who would end up on top. It was kind of cool.
I mean, it would make sense because the quarantine zone had been on the ring for quite a while.
Yep. Exactly. Cool.
Good stuff. Thank you, Discord. You were all very good this week.
They were.
Very good.
They were very nice. All right. Is that it?
I think that's it. It's a nice get in, get out episode, huh?
Get in, get out. I like it. Well, that'll do it for our debriefing of the Flood mission. On the next episode, we will be covering Shield World. Send us your thoughts at podcast. Yeah, what? Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet. Podcast Evolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolve.
Evolve.
Evolved.